Now at 9, the city of Girard appoints a familiar face to lead the city's police force.
A Southwest Missouri summer camp celebrates its reopening just months after serious storms caused severe damage. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
President Trump says the U.S. will meet with Iran next week as he continues to criticize anyone questioning the effectiveness of the U.S. strikes on their nuclear sites. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with the details just ahead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Southeast Kansas community welcomes a new police chief as the department works to strengthen its force. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The city of Girard names hometown officer Jesse Snyder as the new police chief amid staffing challenges. Snyder is a Girard native with 6 years of law enforcement experience. He steps into the role after former Chief Sierra Roberts resigned amid officer vacancies that left many residents concerned. Local businesses also noticed a troubling increase in crime and the absence of police patrols. To address these challenges, the city of Girard says it's hiring more officers and has implemented new pay scales along with retention pay incentives designed to encourage officers to stay and improve department staffing levels. More turmoil at Carthage City Hall. A closed session of the city council leads to the termination of a department director. At the conclusion of last night's closed session, the council terminated the employment of Abby Almendinger, the director of Parks and Rec, effective immediately. The decision came from the recommendation of the mayor, David Bryn Flanagan, and the unanimous consent of the council. Almendinger took over the director position in December of 2022, where she oversaw the park's golf course, pool, Memorial Hall, and the Civil War Museum. Authorities investigate a shooting death in McDonald County, Missouri. The shooting happened around 8:30 this morning on Canning Factory Road, south of Anderson. Sheriff Robert Evanson says one person was killed and deputies detained one person related to the investigation. He says they are not seeking anyone else and there is no ongoing threat to the public. Well, a man wanted on multiple felony warrants is now behind bars following a high-speed chase through southwest Missouri. It started early Tuesday morning after Carthage police say they saw a car commit multiple lane violations. The vehicle sped off following an attempted traffic stop. During the chase, the driver exceeded speeds of 100 miles per hour, nearly struck several other cars, and drove through an active work zone. The chase extended from Carthage to Carterville. Officers deployed spike strips to stop the vehicle, and the driver took off on foot but was quickly captured. And that driver, Billy Osborne, is in the Jasper County Detention Center now, where he is facing 7 outstanding probation and parole violation warrants, as well as new charges stemming from the chase. The Grand River Dam Authority charges an Afton, Oklahoma woman in connection to throwing a dog into the Grand Lake of the Cherokees. Kylie Estes, the dog's owner, says she believed the dog was, quote, at the end of life stage. Estes also said she had had enough of the dog urinating in the house, tearing things up, and being territorial with other dogs. According to court documents, Estes admitted to putting the dog in the kennel, taking him to the dock on Grand Lake, and throwing him in. Estes is charged with felony cruelty to animals. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another hot one outside for us today. 90 for a high. Want to see if this, as the official numbers come in, if it hit 91. 88 is the average high. It's been really consistent all week long. Temperatures, 4 highs, about 90 or 91 degrees. Had a couple random little isolated guys kind of pop up. Northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri earlier today, but pretty quiet. Let's go into your Thursday morning. Here's about 6:30. Another warm, muggy start, sitting into lower 70s. As we go through the morning hours and into the afternoon, high temps right around 90 once again. But a few hit-and-miss scattered thunderstorms. Try to get in as we go through tomorrow night and into Friday morning. So we are going to have some scattered thunderstorm chances in the forecast over the next 48 hours. We're going to break this all down for you here in just a bit.
A Berry County summer camp for those with disabilities is celebrating its reopening after severe storms in April caused widespread damage. As KOAM Samantha Walker reports, the reopening was made possible thanks to the help of hundreds of volunteers.
For the past 30 years, Camp Barnabas has helped offer a true summer camp experience for those with disabilities and their families.
To get to hang around with people like me and being able to be like one with them, like talking to them about stuff.
But when severe weather hit Barry County in April, destruction at the camp was extensive, with power poles and tree limbs pulled down across the property. In some cases, entire trees crashed into cabins. Whether Camp Barnabas would be able to happen this summer became a big question.
I prayed about the camp will be on this year, which is they got it cleaned up on time, so I was grateful for that.
Staff say more than 250 volunteers from near and far donated their time and money to help clean up damage and make repairs.
The support that Camp Barnabas has through other organizations, people talk about it everywhere, coming from like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. It was a really cool thing to see.
I can't even describe how that makes me feel. I definitely would say I have the best job in the world. People love Barnabas, they love the mission, they love our campers, and it's just an incredible feeling.
Now behind me is the zip line here at Camp Barnabas. It's one of the favorite activities here that was damaged but then rebuilt following those severe storms.
We didn't know if we would be able to have camp on time. To make it to this day, to this celebration that we had been talking about for months, it's incredible. It's a good feeling.
The rebuilt zip line is now more accessible and more popular.
That was my first time. I was a little scared going up, but going down was awesome.
As campers fill the cabins at Camp Barnabas, they're grateful for the countless hours of work volunteers put in to make it possible.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really shows that people really care about Camp Barnabas outside of Camp Barnabas, and if there was any problems, they would come and help.
Because without this camp, I don't know what I would do.
Reporting in Barry County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
And now with the camp up and running, campers of all backgrounds say they're ready to enjoy a summer of fishing, canoeing, zip lining, and swimming. Well, coming up, vinyl's back. From four-state collectors to new fans, record sales are spinning up again. But up first, summer's here and so are outdoor cookouts. We've got tips to keep your pets safe while you enjoy the fun. A warning from doctors, vaccination rates for children have stalled around the world. A new analysis published in The Lancet shows more than 15 million children worldwide have not received any life-saving vaccines. There are currently several outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases, including polio overseas and measles here in the U.S. The report says addressing vaccine availability and misinformation about vaccines is critical. Social media may be influencing more teens to use cannabis or e-cigarettes. New surveys conducted by Keck School of Medicine of USC found teens who saw influencers or celebrities using e-cigarettes or cannabis on popular social media sites were more likely to start using them themselves. Well, many pet owners love bringing their dogs with them to places whenever they can, but before heading to or hosting a barbecue this summer, animal care act providers say owners should brush up on a few safety tips to prevent man's best friend from having serious health consequences at cookouts. Fox News' Sean Langille reports.
Summer is kicking into gear, and so are the cookouts. And many people have their pets with them to enjoy the fun. But while barbecues are tasty for humans, they can be a breeding ground full of risks, especially for dogs. Pet care experts say these foods are a no-go.
Onions can be super toxic, avocados, bones. So we might have chicken wings out, things like that. That can easily get stuck in a dog's throat and cause major problems. And then another big one that is corn on the cob. And we see lots of these at the room on 4th of July. And dogs just do not digest that big corn on the cob, and it can easily cause an impaction.
And even if you think your pup is the sweetest one, still keep them far away from the dessert table.
Chocolate can be fatal, especially the darker chocolates.
If you're hosting, make sure to keep food far from the table edges and tell your guests not to feed Fido.
Maybe even have a little treat jar. Say you want to give him a treat, these are his specific treats.
Meanwhile, it's important to keep dogs hydrated, but they can become sick if they ingest too much water.
Water intoxication can be potentially fatal for dogs, and that doesn't always come from just swimming. It can happen from a dog even drinking too much, but even playing in the sprinklers. So signs of this could be stumbling, nausea, vomiting.
And if it's too hot, think about leaving your dog in the AC.
85 degrees, I'm definitely keeping a closer eye on my pets. They should not be out with us all afternoon.
For any medical concerns, experts say contact your pet's vet. Sean Lanchel, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, more than 400 boats compete for the biggest bass and big scholarships at Grand Lake. We'll take you there.
Well, definitely turned out to be hot again for us today. All week long, we've had temperatures right around 90 degrees backing all the way through this past weekend. Had a couple random little pop-up isolated guys earlier this evening, southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, but we're pretty quiet for the rest of the night. We are going to be muggy. Look at our dew points, upper 60s to near 70 degrees. That measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere at the surface in a degree form. What it means for you is it feels sticky to muggy, and we're going to see that as we go through the next couple days. In fact, our heat indices as we work into Thursday afternoon, so here's about 5 p.m., still kind of 95 to about 100 on the high end. We are going to get some hit and miss storms on Friday, so this will drop the heat index at times when we have clouds out there. When we don't, it's going to be right back up in that 96 to about 100 degree range. Front draped across Nebraska and the southern parts of Minnesota, ongoing severe weather up there. We've had a little bit of moisture if you follow the arrows right out of the Gulf, and that's why we've had a couple hit and miss storms over the past couple days. Much of the same on Thursday. Let's go into the morning. Lower 70s, warm, muggy. We warm mid 80s by noon. I'm going to take you to about 5 p.m. That is usually our high temperature this time of the year. Near 90, but notice this. Some scattered thunderstorms try to drive in. If these storms can hold together, one or two of them may be a little bit stronger or low grade severe. So we got to keep our eyes on that. So scattered thunderstorms Thursday night, hit and miss ones all the way into about Friday morning. Here's 5 o'clock in the morning. And then all day long on Friday, a few hit and miss storms, depending on how many are out there. How much clouds we have will tell us what the temperatures are going to be. If we have a lot of clouds, lower 80s, quite a bit of sunshine still with just random storms, we're talking more upper 80s for highs. Let's go into Friday night, and then kicking off your weekend, we are going to have another batch of scattered thunderstorms to start your Saturday. 75 Thursday morning, 86 by noon, high temp, right around 90 degrees. A little bit of a breeze returns. Southerly winds, gusts kind of 20, upwards to about 25, and still much of the same as we go into your Friday as well. All right, let's go down the road. So kicking off your weekend, some morning thunderstorms. Could get an isolated one in the afternoon, but I think the bulk of the weekend mainly dry, lower 90s for afternoon highs. Front slides in. This is going to be on Monday, so this will give us scattered thunderstorms, but at the same time, usher in a little bit cooler air and a little bit less humid air as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. But you can see really all next week, we at least have chances for a few thunderstorms across the region. 90 on your Thursday, 88 Friday, lower 90s. Heading into the weekend, those better chances for a few thunderstorms rolling in on Monday and Tuesday. But it'd be nice to have lower humidity and highs into the mid 80s the middle of next week.
Thanks, Doug. Well, high school anglers from 40 states and 2 additional countries are fishing the waters of Grand Lake this week. As KOAM's Ty Park shows us, they're hoping to catch the biggest fish.
It's a student tournament, and many states represented. There's 2 different additional countries represented.
The High School Fishing World Championship and Nationals are underway in Grove, Oklahoma, along with the student anglers, their families.
So, it's not a typical tournament where maybe you're getting them for 2 days. Our business community is seeing an influx of folks here to the region, and they're here, some of them even for more than a week.
There are 2 student anglers per team in each boat, along with a captain, all competing for the same goal.
We're offering about $3.8 million in scholarship offers this year for these kids. We probably won't fill all of those, but the $1.5 million or so that does sign those scholarships, to me, that merits and warrants everything and the reason why we're here.
Each day, the teams fish for about 8 hours trying to catch the biggest bass they can. One team came all the way from Africa for a chance to win.
We had 4 layovers from Zimbabwe to south. That's about 1.5 hours. Then from south, we went to Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, that was about a 9-hour flight. Then Amsterdam to Atlanta was about 11 hours. And then from Atlanta to Springfield was about another 1.5.
Multiple hours in the air just so they could get on the water.
I think my passion for fishing. Yeah, I think my dad just ignited something in me for fishing, and I wanted to just follow it through and make something of it. Yeah.
It's just a crazy opportunity to be here and a good experience to fish with this many people.
Whether they score the biggest bass or not, they'll have the experience of fishing in Grand Lake. In Grove, Oklahoma, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Well, the high school fishing world championship and national finals run through Friday. Well, coming up next, spinning in the cash.
Recent study says vinyls are on the rise, but why? I spoke to a local expert who says he understands why. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I'll have that story coming up.
Americans take a step back in time when it comes to how they listen to music. According to the Record Industry Association of America, vinyl sales have grown 10% over the past year, which is its 17th consecutive year to $1.4 billion. KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke to the owner of Dig It Record Barn in Joplin about why vinyl's attraction is spinning back around.
Vinyl's been a big part of my life. I've got 500 plus pieces of vinyl myself.
Bill Crook is from Joplin. He's out shopping with his wife for his birthday, which is tomorrow. And of course, there's only one thing on his mind: vinyl.
Putting that disc on a turntable and watching that thing spin and the needle hitting it is like music to my ear.
Also music to store owner of Dig It Record Barn, Lynn Fortner, who says he's seeing an increase in sales in all age groups.
I really feel like the driving factor is just a collectability. The 20 to 40-year-olds today are realizing the value of supporting the artist and owning the material.
Crook says he's not the only one who loves the music.
I've got grandkids that play vinyl. I've got friends that have discovered vinyl all of a sudden.
You can only imagine who some of the best sellers are.
Taylor Swift, of course, Jeff Buckley, and then always Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, like Chaperone. She's from right here in Missouri.
Now, we know these two love vinyl, but what about streaming?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The artist actually intended for you to listen to an album from the beginning to the end. It's a story.
Industry music lovers hopes the love of vinyls passes to the next generation. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, according to the Record Industry Association of America, streaming continues to be the most popular format for music. Up next, Arvest Bank makes a big donation to help fight hunger in the Joplin community. Arvest Bank makes a powerful impact today, presenting a $12,000 check to Bright Futures Joplin through its 15th annual Million Meals campaign. The campaign, held each spring, raises funds to fight hunger across Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. A Million Meals supports local food partners who meet rising demand, especially during summer months when children often lose access to school meals. This year, the campaign raised more than $616,000, helping provide more than 3 million meals to those in need.
Our budget for food and milk for those shelf-stable items is about $60,000 for the school year. So this being 20% of that is a huge donation for us.
Since 2011, the initiative has collected more than $5 million and helped provide over 28 million meals. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. Coming up, President Trump wraps up the NATO summit and declares success in striking Iran's nuclear sites, but a leaked intelligence report is raising questions. And 4 astronauts, 3 countries, 1 mission to advance medical science in space. The latest Axiom crew is en route to the ISS, and they're bringing a dragon named Grace.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. President Trump says the U.S. will meet with Iran next week as he continues to criticize anyone questioning the effectiveness of the U.S. strikes on the country's nuclear sites. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
President Trump is headed home from the NATO summit in the Netherlands, but not before making it clear that Saturday's strikes on Iran's nuclear sites were successful.
The site is obliterated, and we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
Trump officials are pushing back on a leaked U.S. intelligence report suggesting the strikes did not destroy Iran's ability to create a nuclear weapon. Fox has learned that report is a preliminary low-confidence assessment based on just 1 day's worth of intelligence.
Those that dropped the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away.
A lot of their above ground facilities that are a critical part of a centrifuge program have been destroyed. And so a lot of what really is left is sort of what I call the residuals or the remnants of the program.
A nuclear deal with Iran could also still be on the table. Trump says the U.S. will be meeting with Iranian officials next week, although he's no longer insisting on an agreement.
To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought, now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not.
Both the Pentagon and FBI are working to find the source of the leaked classified intelligence report. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, a record 72 million Americans are expected to travel for the July 4th holiday, most of them by car. But rising global tensions, especially in Iran, have many drivers worried about gas prices. Following the U.S. strikes on Iran, experts warn closure of the Strait of Hormuz could spike fuel costs worldwide. Gas prices have already climbed to an 11-week high, with all 50 states seeing increases. Still, averages remain lower than this time last year, down more than 20 cents per gallon nationwide. Well, 4 astronauts are safely in orbit on their way to the International Space Station, following the team's liftoff from Florida shortly after midnight. Now, Fox News senior correspondent Jonathan Suri has more from the Kennedy Space Center.
4 more astronauts are expected to arrive at the International Space Station Thursday morning. Axiom Mission 4 launched from Kennedy Space Center in Florida early Wednesday morning, carrying professional astronauts from Hungary, India, and Poland under the command of former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson.
Incredible ride uphill, and now we like to set our course for the International Space Station aboard the newest member of the Dragon fleet, our spacecraft named Grace.
Whitson says she and her crew decided on the name Grace because spaceflight is not just a feat of engineering, but a benefit for all humanity. Their research in space will include medical experiments, including testing the performance of insulin pens and glucose monitors in weightlessness. It may one day open the door for people with diabetes to become astronauts, as well as benefiting patients in long-term care.
It might simulate extended bed rest. So we're actually also hoping to get some insight into how a continuous glucose monitor, how the readings might be affected slightly differently and therefore potentially impact some patient care down here on Earth as well.
Axiom Space is a Houston-based company that helps foreign governments with limited space infrastructure send their own astronauts to the space station using SpaceX rockets. This is the first flight of a SpaceX Dragon capsule since Elon Musk briefly threatened to decommission the spacecraft fleet during his social media spat with President Trump on June 5th. But as you saw, this Dragon is flying. It's scheduled to dock with the ISS around 7 a.m. Thursday for a 2-week mission in low Earth orbit. At Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, tech time for local kids. Best Buy's Geek Squad Academy returns to Joplin.
Well, it definitely turned out to be hot again for us today. All week long, we've had temperatures right around 90 degrees backing all the way through this past weekend. Had a couple random little pop-up isolated guys earlier this evening, southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas, but we're pretty quiet for the rest of the night. We are going to be muggy. Look at our dew points, upper 60s to near 70 degrees. That measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere at the surface in a degree form. What it means for you is it feels sticky to muggy, and we're going to see that as we go through the next couple days. In fact, our heat indices as we work into Thursday afternoon, so here's about 5 p.m., still kind of 95 to about 100 on the high end. We are going to get some hit and miss storms on Friday, so this will drop the heat index at times when we have clouds out there. When we don't, it's going to be right back up in that 96 to about 100 degree range. Front draped across Nebraska into southern parts of Minnesota, ongoing severe weather up there. We've had a little bit of moisture if you follow the arrows right out of the Gulf, and that's why we've had a couple hit and miss storms over the past couple days. Much of the same on Thursday. Let's go into the morning. Lower 70s, warm, muggy. We warm mid 80s by noon. I'm going to take you to about 5 p.m. That is usually our high temperature this time of the year. Near 90, but notice this. Some scattered thunderstorms try to drive in. If these storms can hold together, one or two of them may be a little bit stronger or low grade severe. So we got to keep our eyes on that. So scattered thunderstorms Thursday night, hit and miss ones all the way into about Friday morning. Here's 5 o'clock in the morning. And then all day long on Friday, a few hit and miss storms, depending on how many are out there, how much clouds we have will tell us what the temperatures are going to be. If we have a lot of clouds, lower 80s, quite a bit of sunshine still with just random storms, we're talking more upper 80s for highs. Let's go into Friday night, and then kicking off your weekend, we are going to have another batch of scattered thunderstorms to start your Saturday. 75 Thursday morning, 86 by noon, high temp, right around 90 degrees. A little bit of a breeze returns. Southerly winds, gusts kind of 20, upwards to about 25, and still much of the same as we go into your Friday as well. All right, let's go down the road. So kicking off your weekend, some morning thunderstorms. Could get an isolated one in the afternoon, but I think the bulk of the weekend mainly dry, lower 90s for afternoon highs. Front slides in. This is going to be on Monday, so this will give us scattered thunderstorms, but at the same time, usher in a little bit cooler air and a little bit less humid air as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. But you can see really all next week, we at least have chances for a few thunderstorms across the region. 90 on your Thursday, 88 Friday, lower 90s. Heading into the weekend, those better chances for a few thunderstorms rolling in on Monday and Tuesday. But it'd be nice to have lower humidity and highs into the mid 80s the middle of next week.
Gotta have that heat, though. All right, thanks, Doug. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws hope to get back in the win column. Plus, local athletes learn from Oklahoma State cowboy wrestlers. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
We are deep into the off-season for high school wrestling, but the work put in during these summer months often make the difference between winning and losing during the school year.
1, 2.
It's day one of the Black Diamond Wrestling Camp at Frontenac High School. Over 150 local wrestlers get the opportunity to learn from coaches with the Oklahoma State Cowboy Regional Training Center program. It's a 3-day camp which started in Chanute in 2010, then moved to Frontenac 3 years ago. Campers are split up into 2 age groups, and it's a rare opportunity to learn from the best of the best.
If they're here, that means they want to get better, right? They're dedicated to the sport, and that's how you get better, right? Coming to these camps and having these opportunities to have, great minds come into the camps, and not just today, but tomorrow and the next day, there's going to be, OSU coaches coming down and teaching what's literally going on in the OSU wrestling room right now.
If you pick up one little thing, it can change all this year in wrestling. So if I change my stance, or I change this attack, well, then my year can be impacted of it.
They bring a different perspective. Ultimately, they are wrestling
at the top level in the United States. I got third in the country last year, and we're bringing it to Southeast Kansas. And I think also it reinforces some of our values that high school coaches and junior high and club coaches are coaching.
The Joplin Outlaws are at home once again tonight. Now, yesterday afternoon, they came back from a 6-run deficit to force extra innings, but lost by a run. Outlaws hoping to bounce back from a loss. They face the Piney Woods Timberhogs tonight. Bottom of the first inning, Andre Jackson gets things started with a base hit into right field. He gets a single there. After he scores on an RBI ground out, there are 2 runners on for Finn Kayella, and he crushes this pitch to deep left center and gone for a 2-run homer. Outlaws up 3-0. We'd hear more from him later. Pittsburgh State's Lucas Van Landuit starts on the mound for Joplin, and he gets a swinging strikeout to end the top of the second. Now to the bottom of the frame, Kayella back up, this time with the bases loaded, and he turns on one to deep right. That gets out as well for a grand slam. The Outlaws score 9 runs in the first 2 innings, and they don't look back. They win it. Final score 13-0. Over in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins home tonight as well, taking on the Sedalia Bombers. Last check of that score has them tied at 6 in the 9th inning. And in Major League Baseball, the Royals and Cardinals are each in action tonight as we venture into our weekly MLB Diamond Deep Dive. We'll start with the Royals. They get shut out. Final score 3-0 in a loss to the Rays, and Kansas City's losing streak, well, now it stretches to 4 games. They had gotten back to 500 on the year last week, but now have a record of 38-42. These two wrap up their 3-game series tomorrow afternoon. In St. Louis, the Redbirds, they get shut out as well. After they beat the Cubs each of the last 2 nights, Chicago responds back with an 8-0 victory. Just like the Royals, Cardinals bats were held in check tonight. They get held to just 4 hits on the game. That's it for sports. We're back right after this.
Teamwork, creativity, and collaboration. That's what it takes to provide kids with different learning opportunities. While visiting the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri, KOAM's Olivia Moss saw each of these at play.
You'll be learning how to make your own music.
Coding, stop-motion animation, and digital music were just 3 of the 5 classes taught at the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri during Best Buy's Geek Squad Academy.
So we are running 5 classes. They are taught by volunteers from our local stores or our Geek Squad agents. When we come here, we are all instructors, helpers, event managers, and we're here to help all of our junior agents, regardless of what our title is at the store.
Junior agents, or members ranging from 3rd to 12th grade, are taught different tech skills and led through hands-on activities, like making their own stop motion with Legos, or creating a song on an iPad.
To show you what we're talking about here in a minute.
The Boys and Girls Club also hosted Missouri House Representative Lane Roberts, discussing state funding, support, and education.
I got to look at some classes where children are doing really technological things that frankly defy me even today. It's very encouraging when you realize that we actually have programs that help children become really good citizens.
When our state officials get to come in and see how the choices they're making at the state level are impacting our program, it's crucial to our future. Basically, we're getting our kids ready to enter the workforce as successful, productive citizens. So that's one thing that we highlighted.
Showing the collaboration it takes to help kids learn and grow.
But a lot of this is just people who are doing the right thing for their community. And I think it benefits us as a state to make sure that we've done what we can to help them be successful.
Reporting from Joplin, I'm Olivia Moss, KOAM News.
The Boys and Girls Club has hosted the Geek Squad Academy 4 times now. Activities are spread out over 2 days. Well, coming up, the box office heats up with big hits, horror franchises, and a blockbuster July on the way. From 28 years later to Superman, what's driving the summer movie surge? It's officially summer, though summer box office season kicked off a while ago. Fandango joins us as we do a summer movie check-in, looking at the biggest successes so far and most highly anticipated films on the way. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Summer movie season is going strong. Let's start with this past weekend, which was a success for some movies, including one of my favorites, 28 Years Later. So how did they do at the box office?
Yeah, 28 Years Later, this is the highest opening ever for this franchise. 28 Years Later, really showing this trend of franchise horror, legacy horror returning this summer. We started with Final Destination's Bloodlines, which was the biggest of that franchise to date. And now 28 Years Later is sort of picking up the baton and then soon handing it off to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Memorial Day weekend kicked things off.
Analysts are predicting this summer to cross $4 billion domestically at the box office. The only other time post-COVID that has happened was the summer of Barbenheimer. So Memorial Day weekend between Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch, having that big of an impact on the summer box office really helps drive moviegoing for the rest of the summer.
There may be a mini Barbenheimer next.
With Megan and F1, you get two really fun movies. You know, F1 the movie kind of gives you Top Gun Maverick vibes, and then Megan 2.0, the first movie's a horror movie, this one's more of an action movie.
A blockbuster July is ahead.
I think July is could be one of the biggest Julys that we've ever had on record, because you have these three sort of big tentpoles coming out. The first is Superman, coming out July 11th. It's written and directed by James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And then Fantastic Four comes out July 25th. Jurassic World Rebirth. This was actually voted most anticipated summer movie in a survey we did for Fandango.
A variety of highly anticipated films follow.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. We have a Smurfs movie for the family. You have a couple of sequels in Nobody 2 and Freakier Friday, an original horror movie in Weapons.
I've never seen anything like that. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with video of an Asian elephant celebrating his 60th birthday at the Houston Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.